Hey, this is Andy from Orbit Media, and I'm kind of pumped about this video. I'm really excited about it because it's super comprehensive. In this one, I recorded myself with screencast, like the recording of the screen, the entire process, step by step, nothing skipped, everything involved in writing a high-ranking blog post. Fun, right? It actually was a long process. It didn't happen all at once. It was over several sittings. You're going to see a time code in the corner. It took like 4 hours plus the time of my collaborators, my team here. And you're going to see some tools, some paid tools, at least in one case a free alternative. And I'm basically going to go from researching the broader topic, narrowing it down to possible key phrases. In the end, choosing a primary and secondary key phrase, and then while writing, expand that to make sure that I've covered off on all the semantically related phrases. It's a good one. This is really, you're going to get the whole thing here in this article, in this video. If you're watching this on YouTube, in the description there's a link that will take you back to the article that goes through the step-by-step process, basically blowing it all out with screenshots, and you can see in much more detail a prescriptive approach to writing this kind of content. And it ranks. So in the end, I'm going to go back and show you the results. We're going to show the ranking for the primary key phrase, the email metrics, the social metrics, the performance, and then next steps. Ready? Here we go. So the article you're going to see me write in this high-speed video is about bounce rates. Kind of a nerdy digital marketing topic. A bounce rate is something like the percentage of visitors who visit only one page. Not exactly, but close enough. Here's how I'm going to write it. Let's get started. The very first thing that I do is I go to Google Docs and open up my content marketing template. I'm going to copy it and rename it. And this template has in it all the things that I need to think about. It forces me to use forethought and research key phrases, plan email marketing, that kind of stuff. Next, I'm going to go to Answer the Public to find all the related questions to the topic bounce rate. That gives me a huge list. There's 56 questions there, and I start copying and pasting those into my template. Some of these are going to be sections. Some of these are going to be just related terms. Related terms I just put at the top of the template. You'll see how I use those later. The sections and subheaders are going to go in what the article will be. So I'm basically starting an outline, more or less, and I'm doing it knowing that these are the top questions related to my topic of bounce rate. I don't need to do tons of research because I'm already very familiar with the topic, but I'm still making sure that I cover off on all these things, and I use a tool like Answer the Public to make sure that I don't really miss anything. So the next thing I'm going to do is to go to keywordtool.io, which will scrape out of Google Suggest all the phrases that Google would have given me had I typed the next letter of the alphabet 26 times. So it's like Google search suggests things. I'm finding tons of those topics, subtopics, related phrases, and copying those into my template. Right away, I get the idea for a table. You're going to see me pay a lot of attention to images. So this table is something I'm planning very early. I'm going to kind of show how different types of pages have different bounce rates and to begin to set expectations there. Let's speed up. So minute 8, minute 10. When I get over here to like minute 15, you can see how I'm really starting to plan the sections and subheaders. Paying a lot more attention to this now. You can see I'm changing the formatting, basically deciding what's going to be in H2. Knowing that this is going to be a long-form article that's going to be my best attempt to answer every related question on the topic. That's what SEO really is making the best page on the internet for your topic. So I'm going to go deep into this, and I'm thinking a lot about what it's going to include and the structure of the article. When you get up here into minute 18, you can see I'm starting to plan like a numbered list. This is, I'm never going to miss the chance to add formatting. So in one of these sections, it's going to be the last section, it gets practical and explains how to reduce bounce rates, which is kind of interesting topic. I'm going to give people a list of ways to reduce their bounce rate. And so there you can see I put in a numbered list. So this reminded me of an article that I once read by Ayat Shukari. I'm going to find that article and I'm going to look for things to mention in my article related to her. Not only am I likely citing her content as I write this, but you'll see I'm going to reach out to her to get a contributor quote. That's one of the things that I'm definitely planning as I go. So lots of reading, lots of research, lots of structure, subheaders. So we're about 20 minutes into the article. As we jump ahead here a little bit, I want to show you where I start some of the keyword research. I always start by noting the date because I might come back to this template later, and it's interesting to see how keyword search volume and difficulty change over time. And I'm using Moz. The Moz Keyword Explorer basically lets me see the search volume, an estimate of how many people search for that each month, and the keyword difficulty, my likelihood of ranking. And so I'm copying these, I'm seeing suggested phrases, I'm copying these into my template, noting the volume and difficulty for each. So in the end, I'll have maybe a dozen or so phrases that I will consider as my primary target key phrase. And so the words formula are coming up in here. Is that a more or less difficult phrase? How to calculate is a phrase I'm going to consider. I'm finding other things that basically should be included in the article, and some of those got added, you just saw it in the body text or as a subheader. But mostly I'm trying to find the options for target key phrase. What is a good bounce rate? Wow, lots of people searching for that, but it was also a much more difficult phrase. I found the word benchmark, so I'm going to add that to my table. This was my image that I was planning from the outset. That image is going to have now a new column because I'm paying tons of attention to my images. And as we keep going here now, I have a good sense now. Look at all these possible target key phrases. The chance of ranking and the size of the prize. Now, here's a free option to do that. I turn on Moz Bar, which is a Chrome extension, which shows me for every key phrase the link authority features of each page that ranks. So right there, overlaid into Google search results, I can see if this is kind of a difficult or easy phrase to rank for. Next, I want to see what my page's page authority will be. In other words, do I have a chance? So what I'm starting to conclude here, I'm going to pause for a second, is that the authority of the page on my site is not going to be super high, right? Look at that. As I go to the top pages report in Moz, and I click next until I'm seeing like the 200th page or something, and I see where the page authority starts to flatten out. These are pages with few incoming links to them. This is an estimate of how authoritative my brand new baby just born page, just published article will be. So if my page authority seems to be about 38, I need to target key phrases that are in that range. And I end up kind of narrowing this down to some of the less popular phrases. Look, some of these are like a 44, 43, 42, 53. Wow, I'm not going to rank for those phrases. They're actually beyond my reach. I think my page is likely going to have a page authority of 36 or 38. This is a scale of 1 to 100, showing the likelihood of ranking for that page, the credibility of that page within among other websites. So now that I have a sense for that, I'm basically going to be picking my new key phrase here, and I've narrowed it down to is bounce rate important? Cool. So now I'm going to go search for that key phrase in Google. I'm not done researching key phrase until I've searched for that key phrase in Google, and I want to see what the other high-ranking pages are. Cool. These are the high-ranking pages. I've chosen the least competitive of all my options because I'm not going to wait 5 years to rank for this, and I'm not super invested in this topic. But when I find that I've narrowed down my key phrase, I found the other high-ranking pages for the phrase. I'm going to take that top page, and I'm going to put it into SEMRush to see all the phrases that ranks for. This is also a paid tool. Basically, the number one page that ranks for this phrase in Google ranks for 75 other phrases. Wow, here they are. This is similar to Answer the Public, similar to keywordtool.io. This is Google, this is a way to see what all the related subtopics and phrases are. So if the best page on the internet for this topic is bounce rate important, also ranks for these other phrases, probably the best page on the internet for this topic should talk about these topics as well. Make sense? I'm doing semantic SEO. So that's going to be a really important way for me to make sure that I'm going to make an awesome page on this topic. I don't just hope that I'm not just writing what I want to write about, I'm finding all the related phrases and incorporating them into my article. Now that I've gotten all that figured out, now I'm ready to start writing headlines. So here you can see I'm working in the related phrases, working in the primary key phrase into my possible target headlines. And right here, I'm going to write maybe half a dozen or a dozen possible headlines. We just did some research that showed that bloggers that write many possible draft headlines before choosing one are far more likely to report strong results from digital. So I've really taken that to heart, and I'm going to work very hard on my headline. You can see I'm going to spend quite a bit of time in here. The headlines that don't make it, I'm going to add just as a note, these are like social media posts. I can use these as social posts because maybe they're not keyword focused, maybe they're just compelling or provocative, so I can use those. So I'm writing a bunch of headlines. I'm also going to make sure that I'm going to check the research on headlines, which shows that there's certain three-word trigrams that get used in the top shared headlines. There they are. This is in an article that we wrote about how to write a great headline, and those three were, if you find in the step-by-step how-to post around this topic, you'll find the link to it. So these three-word trigrams are likely to correlate with huge amounts of sharing, so I'm going to not miss the chance to incorporate some of those in something. Look, I've got a question, and I'm narrowing it down to my final headline. Looks like there it is right there. Is bounce rate important? Question mark. What it means, when it matters, and how to reduce bounce rates in analytics. So you can see I've worked in just a whole bunch of, I checked the word count, I checked the character count, 5 ways I've added a number, thinking a lot, using the word analytics, using second person language, how to reduce your bounce rate. So now that I've chosen my headline, I'm going to start to adapt that into the title tag and into the URL. Later you'll see me adapt that into an email subject line. I don't necessarily use the same title tag and header. Headers don't have a character limit really. Title tags get truncated when the page ranks in Google after like 60 characters. So I'm counting the character there, and looks like I need to shorten it a little bit. You can see me edit this to make sure that it's going to fit nicely into a Google search results page. So lots of extra attention went into that. My title is, the header at least is very long. It's 100 characters. It includes the primary key phrase. It includes a secondary key phrase. It includes several of the related words, and it includes a number, a question, and a very specific benefit. It's making a strong promise to the reader. 5 ways to reduce your bounce rate, when bounce rate matters, this kind of thing. So there we go. Next I'm going to jump ahead, and you're going to see how I'm going to pay attention to some images here. This is me making a screenshot using Snagit. It's an article about bounce rate, so it's going to have lots of screenshots from analytics. Come in here, hit the blue button, or hit the red button, and it's going to take a screenshot, and then I can do my markup. I do tons of this. I couldn't really do my job without Snagit because to make how-to articles, I need lots of visuals, and those visuals need to have notes in them. So the box, the call out, and the arrow are things that I just am constantly making using Snagit. As I go, I'm also going to, and you'll see, I'm just going to jump ahead, but there's a ton of writing in here. I'm going to spend like the next hour writing, creating lots more topics, doing lots more research. When we get over here, you're going to see me actually reach out to a possible collaborator. So Angie Schattmuller is a expert on analytics, and she's got a strong opinion about a type of bounce rate metric, a calculated metric called the adjusted bounce rate. So I'm writing an email to Angie. I already know her, so this isn't difficult, but basically the subject is quick contributor quote. Good morning, Angie. I'm writing an article about bounce rates. I've never written about this before, and I would love to get a short blurb, a couple of sentences, from you by this date. I give her a deadline. And that way I'm going to get more insights into my article. I'm also going to have contributors who are invested in it, who are more likely to share it. Angie's active on social media, and having her as an ally in promoting this content. We say an ally in creating content is an ally in promoting content. So as time goes on here, you can see I'm just still writing. This is basically like more formatting, more structure, more bullets, more subheaders, paying lots of attention to basically never missing a chance to add an H3, add bolding, add numbered lists or bullet lists, add internal links, add contributor quotes, add examples, add statistics. Anything that I can do to make this even a bit more scannable is going to be really important to me. I'm always going to prioritize that because I'm going to try to keep the scan reader flowing. There's a great quote from Eugene Schwartz. He says, "Great copy isn't written, it's assembled." So I'm sort of doing the assembly job here. Pretty soon it's getting time. I'm 2 hours and 40 minutes into this thing, and I need to get the design team started on some stuff. Some of these images that I made need to be beautified. So like that chart down there, I need to ship that out to the designer to make sure that he gets it early enough to start, this right here, like there's 2 of these, I think, to get these beautified. So I'm going to send those off to our design team. Jansen is the guy on our team. He's the man. He does all this for us. And then when you get up to closer to the 3-hour mark, you're going to see me start to do some semantic SEO. I'm mostly happy with the quality of the article, but I still want to make sure that I cover off on all the related topics. So I go to the top, I find those related phrases, I do Control F to see if I used that phrase on this page, and if not, I go incorporate that phrase into the page. I go incorporate that subtopic into the article. I go answer that unanswered question. And as I do, I cross those off the list. You can see me using the formatting just strike out. So I'm really building up the article even more now, right? So I went from topic research to key phrase research to primary, secondary key phrase. Now I'm broadening it again to make sure that I cover every related phrase. I guess WordPress is a phrase that should be incorporated, all these kinds of things. This is basically me doing semantic SEO, which I don't think is very mysterious. It's really just finding every opportunity to make it a higher quality article. Jumping ahead a little bit, you're going to see that I'm starting to wonder how long this little guy is. So to find that, I'm just going to use the Google Docs tool. So we'll just copy and paste the whole thing here. Tool word count, it's about 1,700 words. That's not that I was trying to write a long article or a short article. I'm trying to write the best article I can. But it's just getting a sense for really, if this is going to take extra time for Amanda, the editor, or where I am with the depth of this thing. And then mostly right here, I'm just going to sort of write the final draft. One thing to note, you can see just the attention paid to images when I get into, I'm going to take a screenshot here, and I will literally, so this is a screenshot from Buffer or something. The idea is you can reduce bounce rates by finding your top click-through rate headline and using those headlines in your article to get people to go deeper. So I take a full screenshot using full screen capture tool, and then I'm going to I'm going to download that full page screenshot and put it into Pixelmator so that I can clean up this screenshot and focus the viewer on just the most important parts of it. See how I'm carefully cropping, I'm removing something that's irrelevant. I'm working really hard on these screenshots, and this is me spending like 15 minutes on a single image, which might seem insane, but tightening this up is going to just keep the message at the front. So anything that's irrelevant from a screenshot, I will actually go to Pixelmator and delete it. And then without even saving it from Pixelmator, I'll just capture that part of the screen using Snagit, add a box around it, add my callouts, add my arrows. And you can see how, this is me describing how, I can use Buffer to find the headlines that have the top click-through rate, and I can use that data to lower my bounce rates. You get the idea. So after that, I'm going to spend about another hour just writing this thing. Lots of time spent writing this thing. Here we go, all the way up to finding more research, taking more screenshots, putting the whole thing together. And now that I'm almost done with it, I'm going to do one last thing to make sure that I covered off on all the subtopics. Check the length again, check the incorporated related topics again. But then I copy and paste a clean version without any of the notes at the top into a new Google Doc, and I'm going to turn on the SEMRush SEO Writing Assistant. And what that does is when I put in the target key phrases, it goes and is bounce rate important, and what was it, like do bounce rates matter, whatever my secondary key phrase was. And then it comes down and it shows me all the phrases that I should probably incorporate in this article, because those phrases also appear in the other high-ranking articles for this topic. Very clever. It's not generic advice. It analyzes the other high-ranking pages. And if I didn't use that phrase yet, it's marked in there as white. If I've already incorporated that phrase, it's marked in there as green. So this is a last check to make sure that I'm making a great page, that I'm covering off on everything. And it's the SEO Writing Assistant made by SEMRush is a fun way to do that. It's just a Google Docs add-on. So I think it's part of the paid tool. There might be a free version of it, but you can just see the extent to which I'm paying attention to semantic SEO. So as we go, look, I found an opportunity to add an internal link. I should be linking to this article from which older articles. That's what that note said. I'm going to find opportunities to link to the new article from older articles. Those were added there. The editor, Amanda's going to take care of that. And now I'm planning the email aspects, the elements, the subject line, teaser text, and call to action from the email. This is something that I agonize over for a good 10 minutes, I think, at least. I'm paying a lot of attention. Email subject lines are a high stakes game, and I'm thinking carefully about how to get people to click. So you can't really take back the email. I can rewrite headers and subject and title tags forever, but I can't rewrite an email subject line. We're going to send this email out using ActiveCampaign. I don't think I've ran a test on this. There was no A/B testing or anything like that. And then as we get down to it, we're almost at the end. I think I had a couple little things I needed to do yet, such as write the meta description, which I hadn't done yet. And then finally, I'm going to basically just ship out the article, which means sharing this document with Amanda Gant, who is our editor-in-chief, and she's going to put the whole thing together. So the time that they spent on it was a couple of hours, I think, for editing, maybe an hour or so, and a couple of hours for the image prep. So let me pull up the results from this. I've got, this is the time breakdown for the article, and you can see how much time went into every different category of task. So writing was actually the biggest task, but it was only 31%. After analyzing the minutes as it went, image preparation was about 30% of the time. Look how visual blogging has become. Keyword research, writing, planning, keywordtool.io, the SEO writing assistant, answer the public, looking at other pages. This was about 10% of the time. Editing and publishing, 26% of the time. And it wasn't very time consuming to reach out. I had 3 different collaborators in the end. I had Ali Gardner, Ayat Shukari, and Angie Schottmuller. And it was pretty time efficient to just ask them if they wouldn't mind contributing a quote, and they all happened to respond, which was great. Total time, 7 hours and 35 minutes. Okay, that's not weird for us. That's about what we put into a normal article. Here are the results. Is bounce rate important? I took a screenshot the other day. We are ranking number 4 for that phrase when I took this. So it worked. This is a high-ranking article. This page, it took 3 months before it showed. I'll pull it up. This is the change in rank over time. It took a long time before this article began to get some performance. And the traffic from this has been relatively low. Well, first I'll show you the social sharing. It was shared, engaged with about 240 times, according to BuzzSumo, which doesn't include LinkedIn data. Facebook engagement data includes comments, links, and shares. So that's generally good. According to SEMRush, it's been linked to from 33 different websites. So definitely a success in terms of its originality and its mentions on other websites. According to Moz, it was linked to from 7 other websites. So the total traffic I'm going to pull up, and it's not very exciting yet. This is not a high-performing page by any stretch, but it's the beginning. A lot of our content that gets the most traffic was all kind of a slow burn, and it took a long time for these things to perform. So here you can see the traffic from email, a little bit of traffic from social, and it's really only like single digits right now. But it's just the beginning, and we'll continue to work on this a bit more. Okay, that was it. Wow. There's a lot involved, right? The goal, as I said, was to make the best page on the internet, and hopefully you agree that that kind of effort, is really what it takes to do it. It's not really done yet. They say digital ink is never dry. We're going to keep working on this to keep improving the rank and to expand the ranking for more key phrases. I will later be talking about this article in other people's content and contributor quotes on other websites. I will be creating a piece of research related to this article. It's about bounce rates. We have access to tons of analytics accounts, and I'm going to show what a good bounce rate is, which is rare. You don't see that data much. And I'm going to keep updating this article over time. So it's never really done. We're going to keep, every year, every 2 years, I'll keep rewriting it, whatever it takes to make sure it remains a high-ranking post for that target key phrase. Again, this is Andy from Orbit Media. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you found the article and went through it. Hope you share it with anyone that you're working with that's trying, struggling, or striving to rank high through their blog content. Thanks again. See you next time.